What's going on, YouTube? This is UngarToTheMax here, coming at you with episode 12 of Josh's Sports Vlogs. Although tonight it is UngarToTheMax Sports Vlogs. Still the same type of video. And tonight I am focusing on two games. The Toronto Raptors at the Detroit Pistons in the NBA, and the Battle of Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Philadelphia Flyers from Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, where I was for 2 nights at the 76ers game for Charlotte Hornets at Philadelphia 76ers, and then Georgetown at Villanova. So I'll get back to hockey in a minute, but I want to start with the NBA. Oh, man, let me pause. No! Okay. Ay. Let me pause it. Ay. All right, so they just showed the standings in the Eastern Conference as we are underway in this game. So let me pull up the NBA Eastern Conference standings myself. Wait, here we go. Right before... won't let me go before tip-off. Okay. So before I get into my thoughts and analysis on the Raptors and Pistons, let me give you the top 10 Eastern Conference standings. I'm not going to do all 15. The top 10. Number 1 is Toronto, who is playing tonight. Number 2 is Boston. They are 2 games behind the Raptors. Number 3 are the Cavaliers, who are 9 games back of the Raptors. Number 4 are the Indiana Pacers, 9.5 games back. Number 5 are the Washington Wizards, 10 games back. Number 6 are the Philadelphia 76ers, 11 games back. Number 7 are the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 12.5 games back. Number 8 is the Miami Heat, and they are 13 games behind. Number 9 are the Detroit Pistons, the home team in tonight's game. They are 17.5 games back. And number 10 are the Charlotte Hornets at 19 games back. And right now it is 2-0 Toronto. But I'm not going to be doing as much commentary, like play-by-play in this video, as I am giving you my thoughts and analysis on both games. So let me check back in on Flyers and Penguins Flyers. And this is an important game, especially for me, because I'm a Blue Jackets fan. And both teams are in the Metropolitan Division. And I don't particularly like either team, but if there was a team I dislike more, it's the Penguins. Because they've eliminated, the last 2 times the Blue Jackets have been in the playoffs, last season and a few years before that, who's eliminated us? The Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, luckily, the Penguins went on to win the Stanley Cup, at least last year. I don't remember if they won the Stanley Cup the other time. But the silver lining to losing to the Penguins and then Pittsburgh going on to win the Stanley Cup is that as a Jackets fan, I can say, well, at least we lost to the Stanley Cup champions. But honestly, I was just in Philadelphia, and I've always heard that Philadelphia fans overall are one of the most passionate fan bases you'll ever hear. Unfortunately, I did not experience that. Now, that could have been due to the nor'eastern snowstorm that blew in the day of the 76ers game, and that caused people to stay home and not go to the 76ers game. But overall, I did not feel like this burning passion from the 76ers fans. At least not until the fourth quarter, when the 76ers were coming back. And what's interesting is on a lot of my trips, on a lot of these NBA trips that I've done with my dad during my spring breaks, which I do these trips with my dad because he enjoys basketball too, and he wants to take part in this. But a lot of the games I've seen so far during these trips, the crowd hasn't gotten into it as the goal is knocked off its post. But a lot of the fan bases haven't really gotten into the game. Whoops, too loud. Haven't, but many of the fan bases haven't really gotten into the game until the fourth quarter. The one exception is the crowd of tonight's away team at Little Caesars Arena, the Toronto Raptors. Raptors fans were in it from the very start. Like, at the tip-off, I was hearing, "Let's go Raptors, let's go Raptors." Like, I was hearing that constantly throughout the game. Toronto Raptors fans currently are the most passionate fan base I have seen on this road trip. Like, the Warriors fans were a letdown to me. If I'm gonna be honest, because I was expecting the Warriors fan base to be like this crazy loud fan base where I wouldn't be able to hear myself think. And especially because it was a huge game. The Spurs were trying to extend their winning streak, and the Warriors, I believe, had made the playoffs the previous season. So I was expecting this loud, passionate fan base. I did not hear it. I never felt that. And maybe it was partially because the Warriors weren't making shots. But overall, I left Oracle Arena that night disappointed. Because, I went in with high expectations. And the outcome was like down here. I'm like, really? You're like, it was nothing like the Warriors fan base is today. Nothing. It's a little bit weird. But I love this rivalry, Penguins Flyers. It's crazy. The Flyers won a game against the Penguins 10-1 during a playoff series, and then they come back the next night and lose. Like, that's what I love about this rivalry. Like, you never know. You might get like five. You might get 10 goals, or you might get like 200 penalty minutes. It's the rivalry between these two teams is one of the greatest rivalries. Let me think. What are the best rivalries in the NHL right now? The top rivalry in the NHL, in my opinion, hands down, is Boston-Montreal. I don't really. If you're a Bruins fan, you hate the Canadiens. If you're a Canadiens fan, or as they say, a Habs fan, you hate the Boston Bruins. It's that simple. The number 2 rivalry is the rivalry that's on. Penguins Flyers. Because, like I said, you never know what you're going to get with this rivalry. You might get 200 penalty minutes. You might get 10 goals in one game. It's absolutely insane. What Rangers Islanders I would not put as one of the top rivalries right now, just because it's not. Well, first off, the Islanders are getting a new arena, which they definitely should, because they're playing in Barclays Center right now, and the Jumbotron isn't even over center ice. But that's also because Barclays Center was made for the Brooklyn Nets. It was not made for the New York Islanders. But getting back to the rivalries discussion. So Boston, Montreal is number 1. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia is number 2. Who would I put number 3? I'm talking about top 3 current rivalries. Boston, Montreal, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. I want to say Toronto, Washington, actually. Just because of that great playoff series. And Toronto could be a serious threat. Jeez, Philadelphia is doing a great job being, even though they're down a man right now, they're doing a great job clearing the puck and forcing the Penguins to constantly have to reset during this overtime. But I would say Toronto-Washington is a good rivalry right now. Columbus-Pittsburgh, oh, I do not like the Penguins. Toronto-Boston, there's kind of a triangle effect. Boston, Montreal, Toronto. Or Boston, Montreal, Toronto, Montreal. St. Louis, Chicago, that's another great rivalry. Those two have had great playoff series. Nashville, Anaheim, that has become a huge rivalry. But let's go back to the NBA now. The Pistons are currently winning against the Raptors 12-10. And they were asking the question earlier on ESPN NBA Countdown. Which team is it? Which team is it more important for the? Which team is the number 1 seed more important? Is it more important for the Boston Celtics to get the number 1 seed, or is it more important for the Toronto Raptors to get the number 1 seed? And I honestly think it's the Raptors, because I don't know if even though the Celtics don't have Gordon Hayward, which that was one of the most gruesome injuries I have ever seen, and I hope he's able to come back and play basketball again next season, because he did really well with Utah last season. But overall, I just think Toronto needs to bat more, because number 1, if Toronto gets it, then potentially game 7 of a series could be in their building. And that is Air Canada Center is one of the loudest crowds I've ever seen. It really is. It is one of the loudest fan bases I've ever seen. And it seems like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan flourish. DeRozan is legit. DeMar DeRozan is a legit player now. Not that he wasn't last season, but I would say he's a all-star. He's an all-star, maybe even a superstar. Maybe a superstar. I don't know. Oh my God, Jonas Valanciunas. What? Jonas Valanciunas just hit a 3-pointer. I did not. Who knew he could do that? I didn't. Quick update in spring training. Deanna Navarro just homered to right field. Chris Gemini has scored. And the Cubs lead the Indians 2-0 in the top of the second. But as I was saying, I think it's much more important that the Raptors get it, because you don't want, in the Eastern Conference Finals, you don't want to have to go into Boston, potentially, for a Game 7. Although, I think the Cavaliers are gonna... Although I think my Cavaliers are eventually going to come out of the East. But I do not want to play the Warriors. 0-0, Penguins and Flyers. But anyway, as I was saying, I do not want to play the Warriors in the finals again. Because even though the Cavaliers made all these trades, getting George Hill, Rodney Hood, Larry Nance Jr., and Jordan Clarkson, that would not be enough against the Golden State Warriors. No. Even with how the Cavaliers are constructed right now, I think a series against a finals matchup with the Warriors would only potentially go 5 games at most, but more likely than not, the Warriors would sweep us. I know Cavaliers fans might not want to hear that, but even though I'm a Cavaliers fan, that's my honest truth. The Warriors are just that good right now. And as I've said previously, I'm honestly tired of Warriors Cavaliers because we've had it for the past 3 NBA finals. I would like a new matchup. Like Cavaliers Rockets or Warriors Celtics or Warriors Raptors or Rockets Raptors or Rockets Celtics or maybe Thunder Cavaliers, Thunder Celtics or Thunder Raptors. Maybe the Thunder, but probably not. But the Stanley, getting back to Penguins Flyers, I want to talk about the Stanley Cup. I wish the NHL would put the playoff format back to the traditional 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. And I think I'm saying that a little bit because I'm salty about being eliminated the past 2 years in the past few seasons in the playoffs by the Penguins. Ooh, that is a nice hit. Ooh, that could be considered. Well, that might be considered cross-checking, actually. Let's see. That is a really nice hit. Wow. Bang. Like I said, Penguins Flyers. It is always intense. The two fan bases are two of the most passionate fan bases in hockey. Yep, it is a penalty. I think it's cross-checking. But let's go back to Raptors Pistons, but it is commercial right now. So how about some Oklahoma State? Oh, that's commercial too. So we'll go back to Penguins Flyers. But the Stanley Cup final last season was absolutely fantastic. Penguins Predators, definitely not one of the greatest Stanley Cup finals in history, but I would say it was definitely one of the better Stanley Cup finals. Penguins Sharks, even though it went 6 games, I think that was an okay Stanley Cup final. Not a great one. Let's see. Oh, in 2015, Blackhawks Lightning. I thought that was a good Stanley Cup. You had Stamkos. Yeah. I don't know what my favorite Stanley Cup of all time. Stanley Cup final. What was my favorite my dream Stanley Cup final matchup? Jeez. If we could somehow get Capitals Penguins in this. Nice hit on Bill Kessel, who looks disheveled. He always has. But he has a wicked wrist shot. But, he's going to get called for a tripping penalty. But I've heard that debate between who's better, Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin. For me, it's Sidney Crosby. We've got 4-on-4 hockey. But as I was just saying, between Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin, geez, I almost said Alex Ovechkin. No, it's Sidney Crosby. Crosby has, I believe, 3 Stanley Cup championships. Let me look this up. Let me see here. First off, let me sit up. I don't want to be laying down. I hope Claude Giroux scores a goal tonight. He is my favorite player on the Flyers. But I want to look up. Yonder Alonso just hit a home run. Solo home run in the bottom of the second. Indians still trail the Cubs 2-1 in spring training. Indians and Cubs actually play each other in brief 2-game series in Cleveland and in Chicago during the regular season. Let's see. Sidney Crosby has... Sidney Crosby has 3 Stanley Cups. 2017, 2016, and 2009. But does Alex Ovechkin have any Stanley Cups? No. The Capitals haven't been able to make it out of the second round. And who's that? And why haven't they been able to make it out of the second round? The back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, Jacob Voracek had a nice chance for a goal, but he's denied. And we're back to Raptors-Pistons, tied 21-21. And in this matchup, I want to talk about the Pistons, actually, because they have underperformed. With Stan Van Gundy, the Pistons made it to the playoffs in 2015 against us. Or was that 2016? I believe it was 2016. Yeah, I believe it was 2016. Yes. Pistons made it to the playoffs in 2016, although they got swept by the Cavaliers, who would go on to win the NBA championship. Thank you, Draymond Green. Because I don't know if the Cavaliers would have won the championship, if Draymond Green hadn't gotten suspended. At least that was a big part of it. But, anyway, so the Pistons made it to the playoffs in 2016. Then they missed the playoffs last season, and they're struggling this season. They're on the outside looking in. Even though they have Drummond, they just got Blake Griffin. They're in a new arena. The Pistons overall have just underperformed. Whereas the Raptors, they have not underperformed. 2015, they made it to the playoffs, lost to the Brooklyn Nets. 2016, they made it all the way to the conference finals, where they lost in 6 games to your NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers. And then last season, I believe they made it to... Yeah, they made it to the conference semifinals before they lost to the Cavaliers. End of the first quarter, it's 27-23 Toronto. But the Raptors, I think they can reach the finals before the Cavaliers made their trades? Yes. But after the trades the Cavaliers made, no, I don't. Hang on one second, I gotta let my dog out. I might not go the full first half and first period. Actually, I'll be back in a little bit, but for now, this is UngarToTheMax signing off. Salute, go Cavs, and go Jackets.